today's webinar. Hi, and welcome to today's webinar between AppCrown and FutureVault. I will be your host from AppCrown with Franklin and Ted Sung, Chief Growth Officer, and Ted's our CEO and CTO, accompanied by Christian and Young Mi. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon. My name is Young Mi Han, and I am VP of Sales and Business Development at FutureVault.
Hi, everyone. Christian Borgesan, CMO here at FutureVault, and looking forward to the discussion today.
It'll be a very exciting one. I think with the AppCrown today, we're going to come to the table between our two companies in our partnership of documented data. We'll first start off with the AppCrown section, and then we'll dive into the FutureVault section. Today's session is going to be very to the point, condensed, and factual, so that way it gives people an opportunity to learn about what's out there and certainly the art of the possible, as most people like to certainly think about what they could do with their technologies. Without further ado, AppCrown, we are in the business of enterprise CRM integrations. We are an integration infrastructure for independent asset managers, wealth management firms, and we're solving that critical problem of fragmented data and how do you get multiple custodians, the portfolio system, the planning system, and the CRM system all coming together so that way you have one clean view of your business, how it's performing, how the advisors are doing, how is the staff developing themselves, executing on company missions and goals that you set forth as an executive. We're removing critical elements of fragmented data, manual operations. And this is not only going to save time, but it's going to help bring your business to that next level so you can start making critical Monday morning decisions off of really clean and strong data. There are critical elements, as I mentioned. There's 4 integration layers: custodians, portfolio system, planning, and the CRM. We at AppCrown, we normalize all of that. So we're connected as an institutional counterpart for data management with Schwab, Fidelity, Goldman, Raymond James, SEI, basically the majority of the marketplace. For portfolio systems, we're looking at Orion, Tamarac, Addepart, Black Diamond, eMoney, MoneyGuide Pro for planning, and we're normalizing all of that in a Salesforce Lake strategy. In our Salesforce Lake strategy, you're either one scenario that you're using Salesforce already, and it would be great to have these data gaps solved and having that housed in the CRM universe. The other one is if you're not using Salesforce, AppCrown can provide you with a Salesforce just for data management and business analytical and intelligent views. So 2 choices, 2 paths to solve data problems and get that one unified view. Now, what are you trying to do in Salesforce that is unique? Well, at AppCrown, we're trying to really help you track earnings growth, your billable hours, your lost clients, your net new flows, new clients coming in, so you can see how your business is growing and how your activities and your staff's activities are adding enterprise value to your business. So one day, if you're looking for that next stage of growth investors, to acquire another firm, or simply to build an organic business across multiple state lines, multiple regions, expand your book, you have a clean view of your trailing earnings. You have a clean view of your billable hours, how strong you are, which clients you're getting the most ROI from. All of those statistics come from bringing the custody data, portfolio data, and the planning data into that single view. So where we're sitting in on our side to tee it up for FutureVault in the second part of this webinar, our first portion is data. So we normalize the data, but we also understand that data doesn't just sit on the back office, but they also sit in documents. So we're 2 halves of a single coin, where FutureVault brings in the document aspect of it, secure digital vault, so you can see the B2B and the B2C elements that you're going to see from Christian and Young Mi in just a moment. On the AppCrown side, the data layer is the most critical layer from an earnings and governance perspective. And in this vein, I'm going to transition to Ted, and he's going to show you kind of we call it the XYZ module, so that way you can see how the company can organize and even some planning KPIs and analytics. So Ted, I'm going to pass to you.
Okay. So this is our view of the XYZ firm. As you can see here, You have different region within the company, and then under each region, you have the financial practice team, and of course, you have financial advisor underneath it. Our data model is to work with each firm to create this holistic business model. And when the custodian data or the portfolio data gets integrated into the system, we'll be able to connect each advisor's financial account into this model so that you can see it in detail. For example, if I go to Bill Goldsmith right now, and you can see that from here, I can quickly jump over to see all the financial account that's listed here in this example. And that obviously give me a complete view of all the information that I needed in this case. And we also have all different kind of scorecard like this, where we look at the underlying performance data, activity data, trading data from the custodian or the portfolio system, and we can give you a simple breakdown, for each advisor practice in this case. Then if I go back up to the Good Friends Advisor case, we also have the analytic to see the sum of the three advisor, obviously in this case. An example of our integration is using AI. We can then quickly scan the advisor's book in Salesforce and then create this kind of business momentum analysis so that the advisor can sit together with the team, understand what has changed 6 months and 12 months ago to now, and then make the appropriate adjustment accordingly. So these are the benefit of the custodian data and the portfolio data into Salesforce CRM or into Salesforce Analytic, depends on whether you're looking for CRM expansion or just analytic only. We support both of these functions in this case.
Thank you, Ted. I think one of the things that differentiates AppCrown is that our integration platform is inclusive of these kind of analytics that you're going to see as you build the business up. You want to see momentum across net new assets, net new clients, new financial accounts with AUM. You want to know how functional your staff is when you're out there as an advisor, meeting clients, looking to build the business and understand what Monday to Friday looks like as you go into a week. Now, some of the things that we provide is not only the ability to house all these analytics, but the financial account components as well. So I think, Ted, when people look to us, would you say they look to us to see how the business is going, and certainly the scorecard components as well?
Yes, absolutely. So for example, we can generate a scorecard like this in a very detailed fashion where you can track by period, by month of the individual analysis by clients, departing clients, and so on and so forth. And we also can do regional office or advisor as well. And these are the details that many of you will want to know about at the business advisory practice level. But the reality is all of this data comes from Salesforce, inside the Salesforce. In fact, I'm going to quickly go back to the backside to show you. So here's all the detailed information that we actually capture from the custodian system like this. If you go to each one of them, these are by account number. As you can see, these are by single account and by a single monthly period. And these are all the information that's available from the custodian, most likely from the portfolio system. We then take that data, going through a specialized processing and create what we call a summary data, which is what you saw a second ago with Excel sheet. This is then process saved inside the Salesforce, and then finally through our programming process, we then output that information into Excel sheet for you to do further analysis to be able to see the historical data in this case.
Thank you, Ted. I think this is really critical if you're an executive looking to understand how you can take your business from point A to point B and really grow it from all the data that exists in fragmented sections, because they're siloed in the portfolio, especially if you have multiple portfolio systems. If you're a large firm, maybe you're using Black Diamond Tamarack, you may be using Black Diamond Tamarack Adapart. All of those platforms, we can normalize that in a turnkey integrated solution versus a consulting build with execution and implementation risk that certainly abounds. So that concludes the AppCrown portion of our demonstration. Ted, if you don't mind pausing sharing, I'm going to go back to our slide and kind of pass along to Youngmi to talk about the FutureVault components and about the business.
Thank you, Franklin. Let me tell you about FutureVault. So FutureVault is an industry-leading secure document exchange and digital vault solution. At our core, we exist to enable institutions, advisors, and households to manage information better together. What that means practically, we provide a patented multi-tier vault architecture that firms deploy as a white-labeled product, giving every advisor and every client a secure, structured place to store, share, and manage important documents. Those documents include statements, account agreements, estate planning documents, insurance policies, and increasingly all of the documents that matter in a person's financial life. We're API first by design, which means we integrate into existing workflows rather than replacing them. And the fiduciary audit trail that we build automatically, every document interaction, time-stamped and recorded, is increasingly a critical requirement for compliance teams as regulators focus more and more on digital engagement practices, or DEP. We serve broker-dealers, RIAs, banks, and family offices. And the AppCrown integration that Franklin and Ted referenced is, from our perspective, the connection that makes the vault truly operational for advisors who live in Salesforce or any other CRM solution. We look to elevate the advisor experience from day one, from the access, exchange, tracking, and the compliance of the documents. With that, I will turn that over to Christian Borgesan, our CMO, who will demonstrate what we deliver in the FutureVault platform.
That's great. Thank you, Youngmi. I'm just going to pull this up here for everyone. And now you should be able to see my screen here. And so what we're looking at here is, think of this as FutureVault's operational dashboard or advisor dashboard. This is usually a place we like to start our demos. It gives you a really good high-level picture of everything taking place across the vault. So think of this as somewhat of a command center. From a single view, you can see everything happening across the vault, across every household, even advisors, if advisors are provisioned their own vault. And so we like to call this sort of the bird's eye view, the line of sight, every bit of activity that includes the moment a document gets uploaded, shared, downloaded, even when folders are accessed, you name it, that all rolls up into this recent activity, sort of a master audit log, if you will, in perpetuity, which is real time as well. And so within the vault, there are audit trails and activity logs on individual documents and individual folders. All of that then rolls up and aggregates into here. So depending on your firm and the setup and the roles, certain people may have access to this, others may not, but it is something that you can provision to team members, especially the operational team, or for advisors to track and monitor their own client progress. Now, the second area that we really like to spotlight here within the dashboard is the expiring documents area. So this is very unique to our platform. So every document in the platform that has an expiration date, a maturity date, a renewal date associated to it, these can be tagged in two different ways. So one, manually, where an advisor, someone from ops goes in and sets the date directly on the document, or two, automatically, where our AI processes and reads the document and then extracts the expiration and the maturity date upon ingestion. That then rolls into its own dashboard to give a nice look ahead. So really what this means is that nothing slips through the cracks there. Any real critical time-sensitive processes that need to be reviewed either internally or with clients, you're now having full transparency over these types of documents with those associated expiration dates. These can also be paired up with automated reminders, nudges, things like that go out from the platform. So again, a real nice and real good critical operational piece there with the dashboard. Next, what we want to highlight here is what we call our Vault Insights dashboard. And so Future Vault, we're continually processing documents across every vault. AI is reading it, it's classifying it, extracting data, and then we surface insights. These insights are configured, they're customizable, and really what this dashboard is that you're looking at is it's an aggregate of all of those vault insights. And so all of that rolls up. That way you don't have to go into individual vaults to look at these different insights. You can track and monitor and filter and sort right directly within this view. And if you wanted to drill into Robert Fontaine's vault in the individual insights, you can easily do so from there by looking at members. And this is a good segue into there. We're actually going to look at search by last name here. We're going to go into the James Kellerman vault in this case. So now we are inside a client's vault. And before I dive into anything really, I just want to highlight some of the things that Young Me prefaced, which is fully white labeled, branded vault. So you don't see Future Vault anywhere. It's a nice touch for that relationship piece with clients and the households and even the third parties in your network that you're working with. Future Vault is SOC 2 Type 2, PCI, DSS compliant. It's an encrypted platform end to end. So from a compliance, regulatory, and a security standpoint, all of that, we check the boxes on those things. And then importantly, there are multiple ways to bring documents into the platform. There's about 10 or 11 different ways to get documents securely and efficiently into the platform. That's through APIs, if they exist and persist to view and render documents, SFTP, bulk ingestion. There are checklists, secure file requests. Using the mobile app, you can easily take a picture, upload it into the vault, manual uploads, third parties being able to upload documents, and so forth. A large part of what we do here at Future Vault is large scale, large volume document ingestion, where we map the documents to specific household and client vaults into the appropriate folder location, tag those documents with the appropriate metadata, and ensure that the right permissions are provisioned all throughout so that the right people, the right individuals in the household, even third parties, have access to the right information at the right time. And we're doing it. Our system can process more than 100,000 files in under an hour, and we're doing about 4 million documents monthly, and that ranges from statements and reports to K1s and tax slips, you name it. It's certainly not limited to those types of documents. Those are just the more common types of documents that we deal with on a regular cadence. Now, if we were to drill into one of these documents, what we can do is we can go ahead and show you our IDP engine, our intelligent document processing engine here. And so we've got the document up here on the left-hand side. We've got a number of features available for sharing, adding contacts, viewing the activity log, which we talked about, but then running it through AI, through our IDP engine. And so what we'll do is we will automatically summarize the document. Now we're just showing you this manually through the UI so you can get a sense of it, but we will categorize the document. We'll strip out keywords that can actually then be added as labels for further sorting and filtering. And then we'll summarize this document. And as we configure IDP for the firms that we work with, oftentimes they're looking for particular data points from specific document types. So those might be account balances or the account type or specific date ranges, you name it. What we can do in bulk is then strip out those particular data points, and we can either output that as a CSV, as a JSON, but importantly, we can also move that data from these documents inside Future Vault to other third-party systems, which is very key for any of that downstream workflow that often involves extra resources, extra bodies, a lot of time mulling through these documents. And so we just showed you this on a single document capability. There are two other areas we want to show you. One of them being is the sort of cross-vault querying. So rather than an individual document, we can query this whole vault here to say, hey, summarize this vault, this James Kellerman vault for me. We'll let the AI do its work there. And what it's doing is it's contextualizing all of the different documents that are inside this vault to then create a picture. We use knowledge graphs to piece everything together. And then the second part of this, once the AI has gone through, is showing you the individual vault insights, which would be, particular insights that advisors or teams can look at on a recurring basis. And so what we've done is we've gone ahead and based on this prompt, and this can be open-ended, whatever you would like to do, but it's gone ahead and it's summarized this vault, and it also references where exactly these documents are and structures it by the knowledge graph. So that's one piece of the puzzle there with the AI. And then the second part, like we were talking about, are these different vault insights. Again, customizable, configured by the firm. That's something we help firms stand up and set up. But it then allows these vault insights to be uniform across the board with their advisors and their advisory teams. And so as you see here, we've got a couple pre-baked ones, including a meeting prep. We've got vault summary, which we just ran. We've got action items based on the different documents inside the vault. And what you'll notice here is that there's different tags. You'll notice that there's a complete tag. There's a partial files available tag. And there's also a missing files one. What that is telling us is that with these ones that show complete, it means FutureVault has a complete set of documents to infer this insight properly. The other ones here with the partial files means we can piece together somewhat of an insight here, but we're still missing files. And then what we can do is actually prompt automatically the advisor to then send out a secure file request to retrieve and collect those missing documents. So automatically taking that a step ahead. And then any of these insights that show missing files, what we're signaling is that we don't have any documents here to make this insight. So let's go ahead and request the file so that we can drum up the insight here. And so I think I'll leave it at that for the demo. That gives a pretty high level overview there of some critical areas of FutureVault.
Thank you, Christian. I think maybe this would be a good time to open up for questions, given the few minutes we have left on this condensed webinar. Hopefully informative to everyone attending. I'll pass to you, Christian. What do you see on your panel for questions?
Yeah, young me, I think you've got some questions there in front of you.
Sure. So we have a few questions that came in. So the first one, Franklin, is to you. How do advisors benefit with AppCrown?
Well, one of the things is if it's important in the priority to understand how the business is doing, the health of the business, using information from the back office systems, that's critical. We solve that problem. I think if you're looking to understand the KPIs of the business, maybe you have custom KPIs, you're doing it manually to track the growth of the business, the performance of a financial advisor, not performance reporting, totally different. This is the kind of service that's going to benefit builders in wealth management is a good way to say that. I would say the last third leg where we are beneficial is simply understanding also what your clients have, connecting with the financial information. If you're already using Salesforce to see, your top clients by net worth, what their holdings are, and just giving that holistic financial planning view by bringing integration of planning information from eMoney, Money Guide Pro, that's going to be proved very critical. You may be on mute, Yomi.
Sorry about that. Yes. So it looks like another question that came in is for FutureVault. How does FutureVault differ from other document management solutions that we may have already? I think I can take that. FutureVault was purpose-built for wealth management to meet the nuanced demands for a wealth manager. We have over 5,400 permissions that are available to an RIA firm with bank grade security and an immutable audit trail to share and store documents. We also take the data from the documents and deliver to any downstream workflow needs, like your CRM, data lakes, and even reports, which is very different from any other generic document storage solution. It looks like we have maybe time for one more question here. So the last question is, do you have any live clients using AppCrown and FutureVault today? So the partnered solution. I will say, I'll take that one as well. So I will say we're very excited that the demand for our partner solution has been growing, and we already have close to a dozen clients who are live or close to live in production today. Okay. So with that, we will close today's webinar and thank everyone for attending. Should you have any additional questions or to request a demo for your firm, please connect with us. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.